If you're like me, you might sometimes have a hard time deciding on what gift to give somebody. If you're considering giving them a GoPro camera as a present, I'm going to give you a list of pros and a list of cons that you should consider before you do that. Starting off the pros, the first thing is that they just shoot amazing video. GoPros are used on a lot of different reality TV shows, and now they can film in Ultra HD video, so the quality is fantastic. They can be mounted just about anywhere these days with available mounts from GoPro, or there's a lot of different mounts that you can build yourself. So they can be mounted underwater, in the air, on animals, on people, I mean just about anywhere. They're a creative outlet for the user. Just like photography, video is an artistic form, and a lot of people get a kick out of doing videos. GoPro cameras can be used for personal, obviously, but also for business, and that might help you justify the purchase. I personally use mine for business also, and it's been excellent. Another pro is that they shoot great still pictures and excellent time-lapse pictures, and the newer versions shoot better in low light, so it's a really great camera. Obviously, a huge pro is the small size. You can take it with you just about anywhere. They're also very rugged. When you put them in their waterproof housing, they're obviously waterproof, but they can take a lot of hits and a lot of abuse. Another important pro is that this is a present that could be used year-round. The use of a GoPro is not dependent on a certain time of year or the weather, so you can use it all the time. So the list of pros is pretty significant, but there are some cons that you should consider when thinking about giving one of these as a gift. First of all, they're expensive depending on the model. One way around that is to buy a used camera or buy a new camera but an older model. I would recommend not going older than a Hero 3 because a lot of the current accessories and mounts and stuff will work with the Hero 3 and newer. Another option would be to go with the GoPro Hero base model that starts at $130. Something else important to consider is that you must buy a memory card for these cameras to work. They don't have one included in the box. These cards can be expensive depending on their speed and size. I would recommend a high quality card if you're going to use one of the high-end GoPro models. One minor con to consider is that these cameras are only waterproof when they're in the waterproof housing with the waterproof back door installed. There's a non-waterproof door that you can use, and just make sure you don't get them mixed up. Another minor con to the GoPro cameras is that there are some small parts that you could lose, but a real easy way to combat that is just buy a cheap camera bag. I personally use inexpensive bags from Cabela's, and they work great. Another complaint from some people is the somewhat complex menu navigation. It's not terrible, but the Hero 4 Black and Silver are slightly easier to use. Another con is that because these cameras are so powerful, sometimes people get overwhelmed with the camera settings. I would recommend that when you get the camera, set the resolution to 1080, 30 frames per second, and use the wide field of view. Also, don't use ProTune when you're first starting out, and as you gradually learn the camera, then you can explore more settings. The longer you own your GoPro, the more mounts you're going to want to buy. The only problem with that is that some of them are expensive. GoPro brand mounts are real quality, but they are expensive. A good way to combat that is to start building some of your own. There's a lot of cool DIY videos out there how to build mounts. Something else that some people don't take into consideration is editing the videos together can be a little difficult. You need to consider what you're going to do with the videos after you shoot them with the camera. Most computers come with entry-level video editing software like Windows Movie Maker or Apple's iMovie. GoPro also has free software called GoPro Studio. It can still be a little difficult to learn, but it is fun. After you get your videos all edited together, then you need to decide what you're going to do with them. You can just keep them on your computer for your own viewing, but I suspect that most people want to upload them to the internet, share them on YouTube and Facebook and places like that. In order to do that, you're going to need at least a semi-fast internet connection for that. You will not be able to upload these with dial-up or anything like that, so just consider your internet connection. One of the most important things to consider is how often will this person use the camera. This is really the hardest thing to determine. Some people fall in love with the camera and others use it a couple times and that's it. I don't think that this is dependent on age. It's a semi-complex piece of equipment, but sometimes kids excel at technology and older people can do excellent with it too, so it's really not dependent on age. The decision to give a GoPro as a gift really just comes down to the individual user. Be realistic about the abilities of the person you're buying this for. I'm personally a huge GoPro fan and I use mine almost every day. In my opinion, the pros far outweigh the cons, but they are something to consider. If you have any questions, please let me know. I'll be happy to help you.